Welcome back to the Fearless Females Voice podcast, where women's stories and experiences are shared in order to empower and inspire others. This is the last episode of the year, so I had to take the reins and go solo again. I can't believe that we're already at the end of the year, and that means one thing for me. It's reflection time. So during this period, I tend to reflect on my year, my wins, challenges, and highlights. I really like looking back and seeing just how far I've come, because sometimes in the day-to-day of things, we don't always see all the great stuff that we have achieved, and we tend to focus on that current moment, whether it's stress or a sad moment or just us feeling down. And that's just how we're feeling at that present time. I've actually had a really relaxed December. So I took a step back from work. I wanted some time off. We went to Jamaica for just under 2 weeks, and then we spent around a week in Leicester and London with our families for Christmas. And it's been amazing. This month has been so relaxed for me, and it's been a great time to actually do this exercise of reflection. So reflection is something that has helped me see the bigger picture. Just when I think, okay, what have I exactly done this year? I look back and then boom, I can see it all and think, what a great year. My husband Akash always asks me every year, what has been the best year of your life? And did this year top last year? And I always respond with, yes, this year did top last year. And when he asks me that question this year, I'll be saying 2021 was actually my best year. And I'll go into why. So the 3 questions I tend to ask myself during this reflection period are, number 1, what have been my highlights? Number 2, what have been my challenges? And number 3, what have been my learnings? So the reason I reflect on those questions specifically is because that then helps me set the scene for 2022. It shows me what I need to work on and what I should be prioritizing. I'm huge on goal setting, so if you haven't heard my episode on it, then be sure to check it out. It's episode 58 of Fearless Females Voice podcast. So back to the reflections. On this episode, I wanted to share with you some of mine. This is quite a big one because I'm usually a private person and I like keeping my personal stuff to myself, but I'm going to be open and honest and take you behind the scenes of my life in 2021. Let's start with the highlights. So I had to start the highlights with what is, I think, the best day of my life so far. And that's actually quite a tough call to make because I've had some pretty incredible days in my life. But this day was super special and I was on cloud 9 for the whole of it, from waking up right the way to going to bed. And that day is my wedding day. In fact, it was both of my wedding days. As many of you know, I got married to the most incredible man, I think, in July twice. So we had our Indian ceremony in my parents' garden with just 10 guests. They were immediate family. And then a civil wedding in a venue with around 80 to 90 guests. And I know many brides experience weddings in a stressful way, but I thought it was really straightforward and it all fell into place. I was very lucky that both mine and Akash's family were really chilled about it all and let us take the lead in our celebrations. And I only had 3 months to plan the wedding. So because of COVID, things were shut, wedding dress shops were shut, everything was not really in action. So I had to wait. And as soon as everything opened up is when I was like, boom, let me start booking everything. I'm saying this because I did a lot of the legwork, and now some people may think that 3 months isn't that long to plan a wedding, but we had the mentality that it's not about how fancy the wedding is or trying to please everyone or even getting stressed by COVID. We were adamant that our wedding was about us, celebrating our love with our loved ones. We wanted the day to run smoothly, be simple and elegant, and not have a big faff. And that made both the days run so well. And we actually had the best time. There were hiccups in the planning process where I wasn't able to find my, for example, perfect Indian outfit because COVID wasn't allowing the Indian shops to get more stock from India and they were really limited in their choice. But you know what? I made it work. I loved my outfit in the end and it is what it is. So my top highlight for 2021 has to be getting married to the love of my life. Oh, and not to forget all the wedding celebrations, such as the most incredible hen do organized by my amazing bridesmaids. They are unbelievable, and I feel so lucky to have such a strong, powerful set of women around me. The second highlight takes form in my career. After having spent 8 years working as an engineer, I finally left my job in February this year. So I actually quit last year in November 2020. And then I worked my 3 months notice period. So February was my last month of working. And it was a big milestone and what felt like an end to an era. I remember my last day and taking that leap of faith into the unknown as I had no idea what I was going to do next. It was scary and yet liberating. Leaving my job has been one of the best decisions this year, along with starting Fearless Females. This comes to now my third highlight. Never in a million years did I think that I would be running my own business and have my own clients that I work with. It's crazy how much limitations we can put on ourselves, but when I started taking action, I could see the possibilities are endless. I started a business without having a clue what I was doing and how it all works, but ended up getting paid clients working with me, and it was the most incredible feeling. They believed and trusted me, but more importantly, their lives changed. Their results and transformations were incredible, and all of them have increased their confidence. Some are going for new jobs and promotions at work. Some are gaining more clients for their business, and best of all, they are killing it in their personal growth journey. I really do feel so blessed to be working with these women, and they have actually taught me so much, and I have so much love for them all. It's incredible what you can achieve when you actually put your mind to something. Now, this is a phrase that many of us have heard, but if I look back 6 months ago, Fearless Females didn't exist. But not just that, in the last 6 months, I've created a community of women who are all on their own journey and yet supporting one another. We've had client meetups, I've hosted events. Never did I think that this could be possible. And it just goes to show that anything is possible if you really want it to work. So the next highlight is my nephew being born. So I have many cousins who have children, but when my brother had his baby, I was just in a different place. I was in absolute love with this little child. I can't express how I felt when I first saw him in person. It was a really emotional experience for me, holding this little human in my arms and knowing that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect him and care for him forever. My motherly instincts definitely kicked in, and I just felt a bond that I had never really felt before. The craziest thing was that he was born early, and it coincided with the date that I actually left my job. I mean, it was all meant to be, and this felt like a sign from the universe to me. To this day, my nephew brings me so much joy and happiness, and I try and see him at least every 2 weeks so he remembers who I am. So these are just a few of my highlights, and when fully reflecting, I have so many more, but I don't want this episode to last for hours. So as a summary, some others include having incredible quality time with my family and friends, and that's through starting my own business and having a more flexible time schedule. I've had great health all year round, along with my family and friends, which has been incredible, especially during these times. I've been increasing my strength in the gym and working really hard on lifting weights and improving my body composition, because for me, this is really important. I've been growing as a person spiritually, and not to forget my 2, honeymoons, which were my Cornwall trip with Akash and also Jamaica with Akash. And I'm sure there's many more, but I'm so grateful for everything this year has brought to me. And now moving on to some of the challenges. This one wasn't easy to think about, but here goes. One of the challenges I had this year was being in limbo between finishing my work and starting my business. I'm the type of person who always has a plan and a backup plan and a backup plan. I like to be in control and do things in a certain way. And if it doesn't go in that way, I start getting a bit frustrated or I go off track. So after I left my job in February, I had no plan. Nothing. I had no idea what I was going to do, what was next, or where to even start. I was told to take some time off and enjoy my downtime, which, don't get me wrong, I absolutely took advantage of and did. But at the same time, it was challenging. I remember 4 weeks into not working and I was thinking, right, shall I start looking for other job? I guess there's no real harm in looking. And I was in limbo because I was hoping for something to click. This is what I was told. Just give it enough time and it will come to you instead of you chasing something. So I was waiting for that moment for something in my mind or my heart to tell me, right, this is it. This is what you should be doing. But it didn't happen. Then 2 months went by and still nothing. During this time, I had complete faith in the process and I told myself I would be patient and let nature take its course. Then 3 months in, it all finally clicked. I found my answer and my calling. And that was to turn Fearless Females, which started off as a passion project, into a business. And the rest is history. But that 3-month limbo period was challenging. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time during those 3 months. But for me, it was just a little challenging from not knowing what I should be doing next because I took my career very, very seriously. I've always been very ambitious and grateful for the education opportunities that I've had and also the work opportunities that I've had. So another challenge that I was faced with was during the wedding planning. Although it was pretty straightforward, I was worried about trying to get everything right for everyone else but me. And this caused me a lot of stress for around 1 to 2 weeks before I snapped out of it. It's funny because my family and friends are so chilled and there was no pressure coming from them whatsoever. But we were unable to invite the whole family because of COVID. So to put things into context, we were allowed 80 guests and I have 97 family members alone. Yes, we have a very big family. So this just didn't work. So I was getting quite worked up because I wasn't able to invite everyone. But in actual fact, no one even batted an eyelid and they were all absolutely fine with it. And it's crazy just what we think in our heads that can escalate and distort what's actually reality. And this is what was happening to me when nobody else really minded. And I was the one putting pressure and I was the one stressing out over a situation that didn't even really exist. And the final challenge that I want to talk about is running my own business. I was so used to having a regular paycheck coming in every single month, and then that luxury went away. It's scary, and only I can move this thing forwards. Only I can make this work. It was challenging getting started up, working long hours, and to this date, trying to give it all my all because I want to make an impact to others. It's challenging because you don't know what others are thinking. You don't know when your next clients are coming, if you're going to get paid that month. I know I have so much to give and do, but it's little old me trying to do it all on my own. And although this has been a challenge, it's been totally worth it. I have loved every single moment of running my business, even though there's times when fear did kick in. But that's the beauty of running your own business. You work for yourself, you go at your own pace, and this is something that I have learned. So moving on to my learnings. Firstly, I would say trust the process and have faith. This has been a huge learning for me. Just when I think things can't get any better, the answer comes, or I get a new client, or a new opportunity arises. It's such a strong lesson for me to keep going, even though times are difficult. And I've started to adopt this attitude from Akash. He is probably the hardest working person that I know, and I see what he does in order to be his own version of success. Another learning is to trust my gut. When I feel I need time off, then I should take it. I had this period of time earlier this year when social media was consuming me. I was getting distracted and caught up in others rather than focusing on myself, and this is not normal behavior for me, trust me. Something was triggering me, so I decided to take a break. I'm not just talking a break from social media, but a break from work. I only served my clients and did minimal outside of that. I recognized that I needed a mental break, and I didn't even feel guilty for it. In fact, I felt great. I came out of that break with a bang, in a better headspace and feeling ready for what was coming. It's good to know yourself and be aware of the times you need to take a break, and also ensuring that when you recognize that's the time, that you take a break. That's the hardest thing. Many of us know that, okay, our bodies is telling us to rest or we're feeling burnt out, and yet we keep going. But in actual fact, that's when you should be stopping, pausing, taking a break, resting. Because when you're fully rested, when you're the best version of yourself, you'll be able to give so much more to others, to your business, to your career. It's just, you're working on another level. So the final learning is growth is a continuous journey. I feel there has been a lot of personal growth for me this year with everything that's happened, and I can say I'm in a great place. I feel really grateful for everything, and I'm also really happy. I love where I am, and this has taken time. I also recognize that there is always room for improvement. I am still learning and growing as a person, and there's so much more that I want to do and learn. And it's amazing just how much I've been learning from Akash's behaviors as well. So the classic example of when I found out that his passport had expired the day before we were flying to Jamaica, which meant he couldn't go, I was panicking, whereas he was super calm, and that's just his nature. He remains calm, he assesses the situation instead of getting worked up. And I was panicking, and then I realized, why am I panicking? He's being so calm. Let's assess the options. We started problem solving. So we went from panic mode to problem solving mode, and then within an hour, we had a plan of action. So I could have taken that the other way and continued panicking, feeling stressed, and getting worked up about not going on holiday. But I've learned from Akash that that's not the right behavior, and I've learned how he does it. So I'm constantly growing. So this is where my 2022 goals kick in. Taking these reflections and especially the learnings will help me create my goals for next year. Akash and I have already been talking about a few personal and business goals, and we'll be holding each other to account. I have some big plans already for 2022, and I'm very excited to end the year with some downtime and quality time with my family. It's pretty much the calm before the storm, as they say, because I'll be kicking off 2022 with a bang. I would love to hear more about your reflections and goals, so you can share them with me through email or DM on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to hear from you, so drop me a message. Well, that's the end of this episode, and I hope you've had a lovely Christmas doing whatever it is that you've done, and I'm wishing you all a lovely, happy new year. I'll be back here in 2022, but now it's bye and see you in 2022.